We're going to move on to what I consider to be kind of the biggest value for everybody here. And again, most of you work in mutual aid, most of you work in homelessness outreach, and I cannot be more excited to introduce WEconnect, who graciously sponsored this entire event. As we know, community, and again, this is kind of the theme for the night. You can see what happens when community is clicking and supportive. You can see what happens when people are removed from community. And I think WEconnect, as my dear friends Danielle and Lauren will talk about in a little bit, they really have a powerful tool which can help communities help each other, potentially through some of the hardest roads of recovery and mental health. So that being said, I know some of you still have more questions, and I encourage them. I thank you for all the feedback here. Again, we are not policy wonks. You know, when I started the night, I did not say that we have all the solutions. This is a discussion starter, and it's important because everybody here in this room has a very valid perspective, because a lot of us are angry, a lot of us have purpose, a lot of us has seen, the failures firsthand, and we're all incredibly passionate about this project. So please keep the comments going. But later, after the WEconnect presentation, we're gonna bring everybody back up here. Adam, Sonia, Casey, Mark, WEconnect. And at that point, we can field more questions from the audience, and I'll walk around with a microphone. So with that being said, come on up, please.
Hi, everybody. I'm Daniela Tudor. I'm the co-founder and CEO at WEconnect Health. I'm also a person in long-term recovery. So 11 years ago, I hit, I think bottom is an understatement. I was a couple weeks from not making it. And as I was detoxing in jail, I had one moment of clarity and put myself in treatment. And it was during that 28-day program when I went to inpatient that the idea for WEconnect came about. I went into treatment as a last resort to show my parents that I tried everything that I could, but I didn't think it was gonna work. However, when I walked in there, and I was in there with people from all different kinds of backgrounds and walks of life, myself being a refugee from Romania when communism fell and growing up in 4 different countries, had a really hard time finding community and connection. But when I entered that program, I connected with people on a really deep level. And when that happened, I realized, though, at the end of the 28 days, we were all gonna go back to our old environments. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's gonna be such a risk to this new path that I'd found of recovery of my mental health and wellness journey. And at the end of that 28 days, all I got was a piece of paper that said, here are all the things that you need to do on a weekly basis for the rest of your life to stay in recovery. See you later. So it was those 2 things that I wanted to build and make sure that it was in everybody's pocket on their mental health and wellness journey. And that was the inception for WEconnect. And Lauren here, who I'm gonna introduce in a second, is gonna talk about that and do a brief presentation. We have operated nationwide for over a decade, and here in California and nationwide, we have a free offering, so anybody, regardless of your situation, your background, your health insurance or no health insurance coverage, employment or no employment, there's a free version of the program that we give out and we continue to fund because I believe it's the right thing to do. And so I'm really excited to be with each and every one of you today. I live in Los Angeles, so this is really special to be able to do this with y'all today in the place that I've lived for the last 12 years. And with that, I'm so honored to introduce Lauren. She's our Director of Recovery Services. I'll let her introduce herself, but I feel very fortunate every day that we get to work together alongside on this mission. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Daniela. So I'm Lauren Gehring, she, her. It's great to be here with y'all. I'm actually coming down from Olympia, Washington. And the videos I saw really resonated with also what we're dealing with and seeing with there. If you could go to the next slide, please. So I'm gonna just tell you a little bit about how I got involved with WEconnect. And I'm somebody who, I know what it's like to grow up with housing instability. I know what it's like to be a young person who's hungry, wondering why other kids get fruit snacks and I don't. And, I also know what it's like to work 2 jobs at the age of 14, 3 if you count the evenings and weekends that I worked as a herbal supplier. And it was around that time that I was doing a lot of political advocacy. And somebody told me about this youth advocacy group. And I joined it. And I'll never forget the day that I met somebody who, when she asked, well, why are you here? And I said, well, I deal with depression. And, at the time, I said, I am bipolar. That was my identity. I was like, and I'm bipolar. And she clapped for me. And she was like, oh my gosh, that's so awesome, me too. And to this day, nobody has ever given me a standing ovation when I've shared that. That was a first. But that was my first introduction to peer support and the peer support movement. And that saved my life. The peer support movement, it is a movement. It's a movement of people with lived experience all across the world at this point, coming together, sharing their experience, their stories, and being able to look at somebody and say, hey, you know what, me too, I see you, I believe in you. And the person who gave me that standing ovation, I saw her graduate. I saw her have a driver's license. I saw her living a life and making good money. And all of a sudden, it planted this seed that this thing that I thought was wrong with me could actually be the thing that heals me and that allows me to build connections. And it taught me that these challenges, the trauma, the diagnosis, all of that stuff, that's actually my greatest strength. It's the greatest strength that I have in my life, and that is what the peer movement is about, is looking over at somebody and saying, hey, I see you in your struggle, and that struggle doesn't have to define you. And you know what? It can also be a tremendous strength. And that's what really led me to WEconnect. And I'll be honest, I started WEconnect during the pandemic, and I was like, oh God, digital peer support, I'm gonna do this for a hot minute. There's no way you can build connection digitally and build community. And I'm still here because I love the values of the company, and I was blown away by the community that we have created from folks all across the world. And I just want to share this quote and then go to the next slide. This is the amazing Pat Deegan, who in the peer movement is a total shiro. Oh wait, can you go back real quick so I can share the quote? Pat said that we share in the certainty that people labeled with mental illness are first and above all human beings. Our lives are precious and are of infinite value. So that reminder that no matter what somebody has experienced, that life is precious. There is value in not just our lives, but our experiences, even when they're hard. And so my experience brought me into WEconnect. And my favorite part about WEconnect is our online meetings that we have. We have people from all across the world that join these. We've had people who don't have phones that join from the library. We've had folks that join with their friends in the car that they're sleeping in. And you don't have to be on camera. You can join from the website, from the app. You can label yourself as Superman. We had Superman, we've had Spider-Man join our meetings. And it's completely anonymous and it's low barrier. We had somebody share, they're like, you know what? I love these meetings because I don't have a place to shower and I'm embarrassed to go to in-person support meetings. Or I don't feel accepted in AA meetings. Or I don't deal with addiction challenges. I just need somewhere to go to talk to somebody about my day. I just need some kind of community. And that's what we provide. You don't have to deal with addiction. You don't have to say, this is my diagnosis. You get to come into a community and just share about your day. Connect with other people that are working towards wellness. We have a variety of meetings all throughout the day. We've got just what we call our standard all recovery meetings. We have specialty LGBTQ meetings. We've got meetings for men, for women, harm reduction meetings. And then we also do a lot of really fun things like rotating open mics. We had somebody share once, they're like, you know what really sucks about being an adult? Losing show and tell. Why don't we have show and tell as an adult? And I was like, you know what? Great, let's do a show and tell meeting, which was like the most fun meeting ever. People came on. Some people showed baskets they made out of straws. Some people showed incredible artwork. Some people rapped. I did a duet, which was horrible, to Tom Petty with another member there. It's just, it's just a beautiful community where you get to bring yourself, whatever that looks like. And then we also have family and loved ones meetings. And we've had a lot of family members that join that talk about, you know what, my loved one is on the street. I haven't heard from them in a year, in a week, in a day, and I just need to talk to other family members who know what it's like to be scared. And they get to build that connection with each other because we have to support families. We have to support loved ones. We have to create spaces where people can go and to heal, and that's what we do in these meetings. Next slide, please. So in addition, folks who come to our meetings, we give anybody who wants additional support, we have a code that they can use, Free Support 90, where they can get access to one-on-one peer support as well. And we have a really diverse group of peers from all over the country that provide these supports that have different lived experiences. We have folks that know what it's like to be on the streets. We have folks that know what it's like to deal with trauma, isolation, and we connect people with a peer in their time zone or that best, reflects the experiences that they're dealing with. And our peers can support people on the phone when they're going to court. They can body double. If somebody's like, you know what, my house is a mess, I don't know what to do, or I don't know how to go to a housing appointment, I've never filled out an application, they can get on with them and be like, all right, let's fill out the application together. I'll walk you through it. I will stand with you as you do this. And I've never worked with a more amazing, compassionate group of people than I have here with our peer team, which, Gina, can you give a wave? We've got Gina from our peer team in the back. Woo! And we've got Alex sitting next to Gina, who's one of our amazing account managers that helps to spread information. So shout out to Gina and Alex. Next slide, please. So another really cool thing is when people join in the app or if they click on the link, so if they're joining from a library or from a community center, they can click a link in the chat and they can get an attendance email sent to them. And what's really great about that is for folks who have any probation or court mandates, they can then have that sent straight to a probation officer as proof that they're attending these meetings. And so we have a lot of people that start out just going, oh, I'm here because I have to be. And then 3 years down the line, they're a regular part of the community saying, hey, I see you, person who just shared, I used to be here because I had to be, and now I'm here because I want to be and because this is my family. Next slide, please. So another thing in the app, and this has been really helpful, especially for folks who are transitioning from the streets into housing, is you can set up routines. That routine can be brush your teeth, take the trash out. So there's support routines that might be a housing appointment, probation, doctor's appointment, and then self-care routines. That's anything, right? Whatever you say is self-care is self-care. It could be reading. It could be just little tiny reminders, turn the lights off because I'm paying electricity for the first time and I want to remember to turn my lights off. Whatever that looks like for the person, these can be deeply individualized, and it just helps them in staying on track as they're working towards goals, wellness, or whatever it is that they're trying to do. Next slide. All right, so we got a bunch of other features that folks can utilize. There's a meditation timer, gratitude journal with different prompts, in-app goals where people can write their goals and they can work on them. My favorite is strengths, though, because as a peer, one of the things that I believe is that everything in the world is either a strength or an unmet need. There's nothing outside of that. And our strengths aren't just the things like, oh, I'm good at writing or I'm good at this. It's our passions. The things that make us light up, the things that we love, like singing, one of my greatest strengths. That's one I would list on there. That being said, I am a horrible singer. I have a child that's like, I would like you to sing less. But you know what? It's good for me. I sing when I'm enraged. I sing when I'm happy. Like, it fuels my life. That is a strength in my life, even if I'm not going to win any Emmys or awards or anything for it. So that's something that peers do, is they work with people to identify that your strengths aren't just the things that you're good at. It's the things that cause you to dream and strive for more. And I love that we have that feature to help capture that. And we have prompts to help people dig in a little deeper beyond just like the surface descriptive strengths into real functional things that they can mobilize. Next slide. So these are just a few quotes. I track and write down quotes that people share about WeConnect from the meetings, and I have hundreds at this point, and I'm not gonna sit here and read them to y'all because that would be painful, but I'll highlight just a couple of my favorites. And the first one is the one on top. I've been through rehab 100 times probably, and the 4th of July, 4 years ago, I Googled recovery meetings and found WeConnect. The rest is history. At first I was coming because I had to. Now, I come because I want to. There's nowhere on earth you will get this kind of authenticity, real people. It's a beautiful place. Now I have 2 years clean. I've never been able to do that before. We get to hear these stories over and over again. And it's not like, oh, it's just the company or it's the peers. It's the community that we've been allowed to create, that we've been able to build these connections with people that are powerful, because some of these folks that join the meetings, they don't have somebody sitting across with them, connecting with them. They don't have people in their daily lives, but they get to join these meetings and they get to find a community that cares and that's there. And that's really been the power of the WeConnect meetings. So, next slide.
All right, so thank you guys for joining. I know Roger's going to come back here and welcome everybody else. And we can also take some questions, I'm guessing. But
Before we do the big panel discussion where we call everybody back up, let's keep it focused for now. Does anybody have any questions about WeConnect?
Yeah. So, how do you know that these people have problems, these issues? Let's say somebody could go into the site and just act like he's a person who has a mental illness. How do you and could maybe put someone or get in contact with people who actually do have mental illnesses? And I don't know.
so these meetings are open to anybody. And if someone's coming to these meetings downloading the app, attending the meeting, wanting the free peer support, it's not our job. And we fundamentally, as peer support, are not there to diagnose or judge whether someone should be there or not. So it's really genuinely open to anybody. And if somebody's going to consistently be coming to the meetings and getting that one-to-one support, clearly something is working and there's some value they're getting. So we have folks that, simply want community and are feeling a little bit lonely. I believe that anybody should have the availability to find connection and to find support. So,
And,
go ahead.
yeah. There we go. Ooh. I was just going to add to that we know because somebody says, hey, I need help with this. And that's how we know. And you have some people that come and they join the meetings and they stay for years. You have some people come and they say, you know what, I just lost my partner. I just lost a family member. And they go to the grief meeting and maybe they go to it for 3 months and then they say, hey, I'm doing a lot better. Like, I don't need this in my life right now, but I love knowing that it's there if I want to go back. So that's how we know as peers. We don't diagnose. We meet you where you're at. So if you say, I want to work on this, we say, awesome, let's do it.
And I think the last part of your question was around how we get the word out there about us. So in terms of the free version, this is one of the ways we've been so fortunate to connect with. And I live here in LA and wanted to get the word out through mutual aid groups into the real communities where this can be a really useful tool. We also have another channel where, for example, Molina Medi-Cal in California covers the cost of the one-on-one support for 1 year, plus also being able to earn gift cards and incentives in the app if people are completing their routines. They do that because they've seen the last 2 years that we've partnered with them, because people are more stable, more happy, more connected, more resourced with the incentives, with the peer support, the emergency room readmit rate and the inpatient rate has reduced and gone down for them. So we partner with, in some cases, with health plans. We get grants. We also have employers who buy us as a mental health benefit for their employee base. So that outreach happens through those channels in that case. For our free version, it's been word of mouth up until now, and now we want to make a more concerted effort to get the free version out there to communities across the country, and this is the first type of event that we've done like this. to get the word out about the free version and not just have it be inbound. So the word has spread. We've had over 477,000 people since 2020 join the free group meetings, the free online meetings, and that was with the onset of the pandemic, because I knew stay-at-home orders were going to be a huge risk to people's mental health and recovery, including my own. So that's why we instituted those, and then they grew so much that we knew we had to make it a staple and continue to offer it for free indefinitely.
That's incredible. I am very curious about this, right? Like, again, everything that looks like an incredible resource, if it's too good to be true, it should be interrogated a little bit, right? Now, we know that peer support is incredible, but we also know that it's no substitute for affordable housing, right? The crux of the homelessness issue is affordable housing, it's stagnant wages, that's why everything's going up. So I would love to hear maybe a little bit more cases of, I know you guys aren't a magic bullet for homelessness or solving that, but do you guys have any examples of how perhaps somebody used the app to better position themselves to get off the street?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially for folks that you're working with that, have Molina Medi-Cal that are able to do, get on the app and do the contingency management piece. Our peers have worked with folks who have been able to earn gift cards to do things like purchase a scooter, take an Uber, get an alarm clock. The peers work with folks one-on-one to find resources. One of the most common things that the peers are working with people on are housing. It's housing, it's employment, and it's not just housing and how do I get into housing. It's, oh my God, I just got into housing. How do I not lose my housing? Because you know what, I want to bring my entire street family in with me, or I don't know how to sleep on a bed and I'm ready to just go back out. So it's, our peers work with folks to access resources like housing. They work with them to build a plan for how to be able to stay with housing, for how to get employment. And to get employment that's meaningful. I think that's what's really awesome about peer support is I'm not just gonna be like, hey, how do we find a job for you? I'm gonna talk to you about your strengths. I'm gonna talk to you about what you love. I remember one person I worked with who was getting off the streets, had no idea what they wanted to do for employment because they had been a drug dealer for years. And they made good money and they were like, I don't know how to transition. So we looked at all the strengths they had. They were a way better dealer than I was. I did payment plans, which led to social services, right? Transferable skills. They, on the other hand, were good at math. They were supervising multiple people under them. So peers look at those kind of things and they see the strengths. And so we can say, hey, you know what, you have these strengths. Why don't we look at a job that would maximize those? So what peers do, they're not a magic bullet. We're not solving the housing crisis. But what we're doing is we're having conversations that instill hope. And we're looking at resources that are not just one size fits all. And where we're different than a lot of clinicians is, somebody already broke the swearing barrier earlier. We're fucking scrappy, we're gritty. And we really connect with the person to not just figure out what they need, but what do you want to do to feed your dreams and keep them alive? Yeah.
And those anecdotes are transferred into the data and the results that we see. Out of 1 year of offering for, the population, on average, 9 to 10 months, people are engaging with our app. That equates stability. That equates that people are showing up consistently and they're getting value out of it. And or they're growing in their stability and the new resources for life that they're founding in the community and the connections that they've created. And we also see that with statistical data and research that we've done in Texas. We are actually contracted with the state to provide our program for the uninsured and underinsured. And we've had a case study on it be published on JANA Open Network. So not to get too nerdy, but I say that because it's important. It's important just as it is every individual story of hope and strength and change in someone's life that we've seen, is that there is actual large data backing our program, and that this has been validated and is making an actual difference in people's lives in different ways.
Thank you. I think we had a question over here.
Yeah. Is your app multilingual? Is it offered language justice?
Yeah, so it is on Android and iPhone, and we do have Spanish-speaking peers. It can be operated within Spanish, and we're looking to expand in other languages now as well. But right now we are Spanish and English.
And we also have a Spanish meeting right now. It's once a week, and as that, we continue to have folks join, we'll be looking at expanding that as well. But we have a Spanish meeting every Sunday too.
Other questions?
We have one question over here.
What is the time frame on a person getting housing with you?
Ooh, that's a great question.
And we haven't tracked that. That would be really interesting to track and look. And I'll be honest, one of the things about data collection with peer support is, I don't think I could say, oh, it's the peer that got them housing, because it's going to look different in every community. Like the community in LA, the resources y'all have when we're working with somebody from LA is different than Washington, is different than Texas, as are all the waiting lists. But actually, that would be, so we should have a conversation about that.
That's a great idea. And one of the things that we balance and that I have always felt strongly about is, okay, if we already approach this as an example, we would obviously need to get radical consent on utilizing the data, and so then it's going to be self-reported, and so it's going to come with some interesting facets, but I love that idea, and we should look into it, yeah. That's one of the big things is we don't actually record videos or telephonic sessions. When people check into a routine at a location and time, it's just that instance to check off that they did the routine to earn the incentive, but then we don't store that data. So that's also another important facet for us, is that we are really protecting people at every level.
And we also train our peers on what to not put in notes. So we do not collect any information about somebody's residential immigration status at all, and our peers are also trained about how to take notes and to also respect privacy.
How to address women's health issues, things like that. We're very careful how we do those things so that at the end of the day the person is fully protected, yeah.